Good morning, traders. Welcome to everyone joining us from pre-market prep. Filling in here this morning on live trading for Mr. Faloona, who's out of town. Hope Faloona enjoys his vacation. And we've got a hot market this morning. Lots of stocks to talk about. As always, if you got tickers you want to check out, drop them here in the chat. We've got 13 hanging out in the background. What do you say we get this live trading thing going? And let's make some money today.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, 13, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. Just gonna feel for this market here. It looks like in the pre-market we are putting in new all-time highs with the SPYs. Giddy up.
Gotta love that, right? Ain't nothing wrong with all-time highs. I guess there's something wrong with it if you're a bear, but I don't know really at this point why you would be fighting this market, because it seems like no matter what happens, no matter what war is started, no matter how much what they do with interest rates, the market just keeps going higher. I mean, we saw chips get absolutely wrecked yesterday and immediately coming back today. Of course, you had TSM's earnings came in overnight, which helped propel chip stocks back higher after selling off yesterday.
Yep, they guided higher as well. It's looking pretty good for TSM. They expect margin increases, looking good for them. So that's been the big player in the semis, and we're seeing a lift in the whole sector as a result.
And then what so far, I mean, we mentioned TSM, the chip stocks. You've got Nvidia nearing all-time highs. You got SMCI trading higher. What's been what have been the top stocks you're watching this morning, 13?
Well, if you're talking large cap, it's still like those Mag 7. I look at see what those do every day. Here we usually look for some of these smaller, junkier names that have momentum that are moving very well. So that's what I'm going to be looking at today. And I have a list that we can go through. There's some other longer term plays that we can get into later. I have some of those that I've been getting into and also selling out of. But for now, usually what we do is just cover some of these big movers. And if you want, we can start with, oh, look, there's my chart right there. We can start with NIXX. And this is NIXI Incorporated. And what's happening here is that the shares are trading higher after coming to provide updates on the business, including its acquisition strategy in traditional markets and enhancing operations through technology and data analytics. So basically that's, to shorten that, they provided a business update. They have 2.769 million shares in the float. This was formerly recruiter.com. And we're going to see a whole bunch of price action before, ahead of this day. Not necessarily certain that that's from this company. I think it may have been another company that had the same ticker previously, but that's why this is moving. As far as levels go, we can see here that we're beneath VWAP right now, and we're starting to lose a little bit of altitude. Pull this up in my broker so I can get a better view of this. So one thing that we're going to watch for is to see if this comes down to the 65 EMA, which is this line down here. That would be one of the first levels of support. And seeing as how we were down there previously in the pre-market down here, that could be an indication that this support level might actually hold up. So that's going to be the first step down if we lose more price out of the open here, or as we approach the open. So that'll be one thing to watch for. That's NIXX. Next one. I'm sorry, do you have any comments on that?
No. Keep ripping through real quick.
All right, so here we go with the next one. And this is interesting too, because we just talked about a company that's essentially a professional services recruiter, NIX. Now we have this one, which is also in the same space, Staffing 360 Solutions. This is moving on what seems to be no news. So I think we're seeing a bit of a relationship trade here with this company and NIX. This has a 788,000 share float. They did a 1-for-10 reverse split on June 26th. And this too is also trading beneath its VWAP. But as you can see, we're getting support from the 65 EMA here on the 5-minute. So as long as that holds up, this may end up coming back up and trying to test VWAP as we approach open or after we open here. So that'll be one thing to watch for on STAF. Next, we have PIXY. Let's pull that up here. This is Shift Pixie. Again, more professional services in the recruiter space. But this is a little bit of a different one. This actually has news, and they're acquiring. Let me see if I got that. TurboScale. I think I may have wrote that down wrong. They're acquiring TurboScale for 150 million, and that's going to be 75 million in cash and 75 million in debt. This company has a 2.75 million share float. Not sure where they're going to get that money from. So I would expect that they issue restricted units or some new kinds of shares in order to raise that capital in order to make this acquisition happen. They did do a 1-for-15 reverse split on the 14th. So that was just earlier this week. And that is also fitting with the theme of recompliance. That's one of the things that this company had to do. They had to get NASDAQ recompliance. That was the reason for the reverse split. And now they are trying to show shareholders how serious they are about moving their company forward by acquiring TurboScale and for 150 million. Finally, the other one that I saw that was moving, and it was another 100% plus mover, but now it's back over 100%. This one was Brea, B-R-E-A, sorry. This is also moving off of no news, but I noticed that on a daily chart, it's coming off of a bit of a double bottom here. So that was looking interesting to me. We're moving up in the pre-market here. Let me just go back to that 5-minute chart. Also below VWAP, and it lost a 65 EMA, but we are getting a little bit of support from the 200 EMA, which is interestingly also where the after hours session ended yesterday. So we are getting pretty close to that support level there. But if we start to lose that, then we're going to be, falling down to this. Actually, I shouldn't have that on. We're going to be falling down further, probably back to the start. So watch for this level to hold and reverse. If it doesn't, that's your signal to not want to be. And that's
so, Christian, do you trade something differently if it's popping on news versus if it's popping on no news?
We trade. Well, I think when it comes to the short answer is not really, because as long as it has the momentum, we're going and provides the setups that we're looking for, we're still going to give it a shot. We're still going to try and trade it. But so I don't think it really matters whether it has news or not. If it has news, then I think there's a little bit more of a confidence issue there because it's actually going to. There's a good reason why it's moving. But some of these other ones that have no news that are just moving for no reason, like for example, drug. That one that just absolutely ripped for no reason. We still traded it. Still traded the heck out of it. A whole bunch of people made a lot of great money on drug, but it was moving on literally nothing. So yes, we will still trade those even if they have no news. But I think for me, it gives me a little bit more confidence when there's actually something attached to the movement. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I was just curious because sometimes you see these pops on news and then you get the sell off after the news. Sometimes you see these small cap stocks ripping. And like you said, sometimes there's no news even involved and they're just, it's higher volume and people are just buying them up.
Yeah, we're going to trade them, but we are not going to hold these things. These are not things that we want to get married to. We just want to capture that price action and make a profit off that and then say thank you very much and move on to the next thing. Now, one thing I did notice before we came on here, and I saw it in chat, folks were mentioning SGD. This one was also taken off just as we started here, got up to a little over $5 and then came right back in. I don't know what this was moving on. Looks like they had a letter to the shareholders, and they said a lot of things apparently in there, that, from what I can gather. So that's why we're getting that movement in this morning. We can consider this one on deck for a trade as well, but this is almost right back to where it began. So for me, I would have to just wait and see what we get out of the open from this. Maybe it comes back up and try test VWAP. And aside from that, that's what I've got on my list. I did also write down UPXI, TVGN, and NUZE, since I noticed that those were also moving as well. Market Sniper also mentioning TVGN. It does look interesting, and it was getting a little bit of movement. Dwayne Walker asking about GEVO. That was on the list as well, too, just a little bit further down because, as you can see, it was only up 31%, and we have a whole bunch of other stocks that are much, much higher than that. Those four that I mentioned earlier, they're over 100% and going higher. But we could take a look at GEVO, and it seems as we're looking at it right now, we're not having a good time. So what we want to see here is at least one of these EMAs or previous levels provide support. So this is the next one I see here, and that's going to be just about 280. And the RSI is getting pretty sloppy here. So I would imagine at some point there's going to have to be a bounce, and that could be down here. It just, for the time being, it just does not look great. But that doesn't mean set up some limit orders and get ready to buy it here. Just wait and see what it does. Maybe it provides support. Maybe it blasts right through it. I don't know. I didn't really cover this one, and I don't know what's going on with it.
All right, checking out the chat here to see if they've got any tickers they want to look at here this morning. Let's see what we've got. TVGN, have we covered that one yet?
Nope, that was one that I thought was interesting. We can take a look at that. This one actually above its VWAP right now. That's going to be that purple line. Pushed up above it previously, came back in, tested some support with this EMA, and now we're back above VWAP, trying to hold that, but it looks like we're about to lose it here. What's going on with this one today? See if I can get any. It's not loading. There we go. Investors congratulate prestigious recognition of pioneering biopharma business model, breakthrough innovations, building assets, estimated to exceed 10 billion. So see if that you can get that reflected in the financials. Don't really see how it doesn't really show up in the assets. That's the case, but let's see what we can get out of this. Looks like it's still trying to hold that VWAP, so that's a good sign. Remember, we do have a pretty high RSI here, so temper expectations. I think we need to wait and see what this does at the open, which is about 12 minutes. Maybe it tries to come back up to that 190 level where it was at previously before coming back in. But that would be the breakout spot that I'd be looking for with TVGN. Let's just see if we can get that volume to increase going into the open and take it that level out. What else we want to look at? Do you think Tesla will hit 200 this month? Let's take a look at Tesla. See how that's doing today. Because I did mention that I think I wanted to see this go down to 200, which was down where the 200 SMA was. I don't have that on this chart at the moment. But 200 down there, that's what I was looking for. And right now, it seems like we're kind of building a bit of a bear flag here. Maybe we see this price come back up to the 226 level that I have marked off here. And if that doesn't hold up, that gets rejected, then we could have that conversation about it taking that next leg lower and dropping down to the 200 area. Maybe 202, which I think is about where the 200-day SMA is. Yeah, right about down there, 201, 202. So that would be something to watch for at Tesla. Could it do it this month is the question. It's possible. We have, we have 2 weeks left. I don't want to say it couldn't. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of time left for this to get rejected at 226. Couldn't tell you exactly when that's going to happen, but I'd say it's possible. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I hope that's a good enough answer for you on that question. GVO looks good. We talked about that one. LEU, wow. Oh, and also Christoph asking about VSME. I'll take a look at that one too. But
yeah, let's take a look at LEU real quick.
Sure, let's do that. LEU, CCJ, SMR. Looks like we're getting. I'm sorry. Did I get that wrong? No, I got that right. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. This big candle. Let's see what this looks like on a smaller time frame. All right. So what's the news aside from what we already know that the Mag 7 are going nuclear and starting?
I think that's just it. I think it's just continuation in this space as more adoption seems to be picking up in the nuclear space. I mean, a lot of these stocks have been getting hammered the past few years, really. So it's kind of like the breath of life being put back into these names, and they're, we know how this market works. When things start moving, when you got a Momo market and the market making all-time highs, the hot sectors remain hot.
I hear that, and that seems to be the case. So nuclear stocks on fire right now, and going to be that way until the market decides it wants to take profit. So yes, LEU, CCJ, SMR, all those wonderful names that are in the nuclear space. Let's take a look at VSME real quick, and then we'll move on to some of these other tickers you folks are talking about. VS Media, what's the news here? Up 55%. Not really seeing anything relevant to today, so maybe no news. What's happening with this one in the pre-market right now is that we had a pop much earlier in the morning, and we just lost it, pretty much all of it. Came down to about the 200 EMA, which is this line here, getting some support, but a little bit of resistance from the 65. So once we recapture the 65, then the next level up will probably be about where this consolidation is, which is just beneath the VWAP. So we talk about $5 being on the table after we recapture 65 EMA. That's what I'd be looking for with BSME. And we mentioned, yeah, we did talk about Brea. We did mention SGD. Dwayne Walker wants to know more about Nike. This has been one that folks have been in this chat, and Ryan has also been, I think, trading. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he has been. I think he was short this, and then he closed it. So with Nike, well, it's a good thing he did, because this thing is breaking through this trend line that I have here. Now I have 80 and 85 marked off because these are two interesting levels. I'm actually long this for the longer term, because I believe Nike, even with the headwinds that they are facing, their economic mode is very wide, and they are a leader in the space. So I think eventually this is going to end up doing well in the long run. But for the time being, it seems between 80 and 85, there's this consolidation that it's been going through. Now, once we get back up to 85, my gut, this is just a gut feeling, my gut tells me that we're going to probably face some resistance here at 85. So that's something to watch for with Nike. As far as the smaller time frames go, doesn't really look like we're getting a whole lot this morning, just kind of some consolidation from the after hours yesterday. Really can't draw on a whole lot there from this price action, but I would just go back to the daily chart and take a look at that and say, yeah, 85 looks like a potential spot, maybe just a little bit since we traded above it as well. All right, so there's that. Sarah Sassy asking or saying ADTX looks like it's a double bottom. What do we got there? ADTX. Expecting, that didn't help. Double bottom. Now, what time frame? Because I'm really having to dig into this. I don't see a double bottom here with ADTX unless I need to look at a longer time frame. Nope, that didn't help either. This just looks, I don't even know what I want to call this. I don't have a clever name for what's happening here. So I don't know that I see a double bottom in ADTX. Sorry about that. 1 minute. Oh, well, let's see if we can get that on 1 minute. Okay, so what you're looking at basically kind of like, I don't want to even say intraday because we haven't opened yet, but in the pre-market here, it looks like we are double bottoming. So I see what you're saying now. If we can push off of that, it looks to me like 112 is the spot you want to break out of. So that's really all I can draw on from ADTX. Looks like it doesn't. It's going to be trading pretty thin. Not going to be a whole lot of volume in this because it's kind of barcoding. But looks like 112 is your breakout spot once you get back above these EMAs. Looks like you're above VWAP for the time being as well. There's not a lot of volume here, so I don't know that I'm necessarily interested in this one right now.
What about the chip stocks this morning, 13? We had Taiwan Semis earnings come in overnight, which brought basically the whole industry higher, whether you're looking at NVIDIA, SMCI, TSM, and then, LRCX, Lam Research, which recently went through a stock split. So I'm curious about how that is trading post-stock split.
Can you give that to me one more time? Lam Research was what?
LRCX.
All right. Well, yeah. So with TSM lifting the whole sector, because they're kind of like we have chip manufacturers, and then we have the chip manufacturer, and TSM is basically the chip manufacturer. They're the only ones that are on the verge of being able to offer 2 nanometer chip lithography. So that kind of puts them well ahead of anybody else that can produce chips, ahead of Intel, Global Foundries, all of them. So if they have good earnings, it's going to lift the whole sector. Now, as far as this one goes, I mean, I know about Lam Research, but I don't have a good read on the company. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about this and how it relates to the semi trade? It looks, yeah.
Yeah. So from my understanding, and I'm not an expert in this industry or company, but I believe Lam Research is kind of more similar to a like ASML, where it's kind of like a manufacturer for the actual chips, as opposed to like an NVIDIA who designs the chips. Again, correct me in the chat if I am wrong on that. But again, Lam Research recently went through a stock split. I want to say it was last week. And yeah, I mean, it seems like Lam Research maybe hasn't had the immediate impact on earnings and revenue from like the AI boom that some of these other companies have had. But I think over time, this company is still prone for a lot of growth.
Okay, so basically, when it comes to anything that's in the semiconductor or chip manufacturing sector, they're all going to get a lift from TSM.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, and even, I mean, you go back a couple of days ago, conversely, they all got hit on ASML earnings.
Yep.
And as I mentioned in pre-market, kind of unfairly, because ASML's earnings showed a lot of weakness in the non-AI chip segment, whereas basically all the chips have been running because of AI. So if ASML is not doing well because of their non-AI chip segment, then it doesn't really make sense to hammer then NVIDIA or AMD or some of these other stocks that have been moving higher on the AI demand. So again, hindsight's always 2020, but at the time, it was kind of unfair that those other stocks got hammered so much on the ASML news, because they're not really as related as you think, just because they're both semiconductor companies.
I think it's just the whole thing behind the thing behind the thing is the mentality that traders were having. We know that a lot of well, pretty much TSM is providing the manufacturing for a lot of these NVIDIA, of course, but the other AI names as well, Apple and Microsoft and Google. But they get their lithography machines from ASML. So just kind of going backwards, that was the mentality there. Is like, if ASML is having a hard time with their sales and their weak guidance, TSM and all the other semis may also have that same problem too. So that was the whole relationship there. We are also just 10 seconds away from the open, so everybody just lock and load. We're about ready to open here.
All right. Lion Atlas is saying Lam does supply wafers, not chips. So again, I knew it was on like the manufacturing side, like the hardware side, doing some kind of like one of those like pick and shovel plays of the actual, industry, and not, again, the ones like designing the chips. There's another, what was the other? There was another company in the news recently that was a silicon wafer supplier. Well, I know that after Hurricane Helene, that the mining town in North Carolina, Spruce Point, is where all the pure quartz comes from to make these silicon wafers, and those mining operations were obviously disrupted by the hurricane. So it'll take some time to, I guess, see if the supply chain is affected there by, again, that town in North Carolina that supplies the quartz used for the silicon wafers. Did get hit by the hurricane, so I'm not sure if we're seeing any impacts from that. All right, we are officially at 9:30, which means the market is officially open. And was I saying Spruce Point? Spruce Pine? Sorry.
And looking like right out of the gate here, Pixie is halted after opening lower and then pushing up. So we are halted into the upside for PIXY. We have VWAP at 1605. This one here, it says 1604, a little bit different from my broker. We've already addressed that multiple times with Ryan. So that's where we're looking there with Pixie. Now let's take a look at some of these other ones. Let me see what we got here with Brea. That one's going down. Let's take a look at Staff. Do I have that?
Give me a read on Oklo. Is Oklo still moving?
It's part of that nuclear sector, so I would imagine that it is. Let's see here. No, it's going down at the out of the open.
Okay. I kind of like anticipated that because I know it was up pre-market again this morning, but then I was like, I feel like as we get closer to the open, this might actually start selling off. If you guys were watching pre-market prep, you know, we already talked about those nuclear stocks, and my concern with them as an investor buying right now would just be, again, I'm very bullish that space, and over time, I think there's a reason you're seeing Amazon, Microsoft, etc. start moving this direction. And look, say what you want about those companies. A, they got a lot of money. B, they've got at least some smart people working up there so that they're making these decisions and saying, "Hey, we should start going nuclear for this stuff." And I'm bullish again that long term, but my concern would be buying Oklo now to sit through a 5-10 year period where the company's really not making money, doing more offerings, not seeing any earnings growth, all these things. So I think I'd be able to find a more attractive valuation at some point in the next 5 years or so.
We've been asked about Clove. We've covered this one before. Don't see any news that it's moving up on right now, but as we pointed out before, this one was looking good coming off of this rounding bottom. Looked better as a long-term investment more than the day trade, but as a day trade today, not looking too bad. I just don't see any news on why it's moving. But this is a nice move out of the gate here. We are getting pretty extended right off the bat, so we could expect to see some coming in on this pop here. Just keep that in mind. Let's go back to staff, because that was also moving. Here we go. We're coming back up to VWAP. So here's what we want to see with this one. We're going to get a test of VWAP on this one, it looks like. Whether or not we break over that, I'm not sure. We're going to need to see continued expansion of volume in order to get above this. And then once we do, we can take a look at $6 as the first resistance spot, or the first price target that we can go after here based on the pre-market action that we've had this morning. Oklo going lower. Let me show you what I'm talking about. OKLO down 10% now. Looks like a little unwinding of this trade. Is that going to be the broad thing happening here with the energy or the uranium stocks? Looks like this one's okay for now. This Oklo was the one that was getting hammered. Staff halted. Let me see here if that's what the case is. Yes, staff is halted. Didn't have that show up on the Benzinga broker. It was the Benzinga screen. It was looking at showing up on this one though. So yes, staff is suspended, as is Pixie. Let's take a look at NIXX. See what Nick's giving us today. Okay, so that one also not looking good, but we could get some support down at that 65 EMA. That'd be something to watch for yet. Doesn't necessarily mean jump right in it there. Just wait and see if we get some support. If it starts to bounce, might be a signal that this is trying to turn around. So that's just something to watch for. RSI at that area under just around 45. So not a bad spot. If we can't get a bounce there, we'd be looking down at the 200 EMA for some support. SGD above 4. Look at that. Trying to work on getting above that VWAP. 2 rejections so far, but looking pretty good. We get above the VWAP, then let's take out that 485 and 515 level. This would be the area we'd want to see the price get up to upon the breakout of that VWAP. So far, not happening. Not liking that. Not liking that at all. Oof. Hopefully no one was in that quite yet. Okay, so we have Pixie back open. Let's take a look at this one. SGD, $6 next stop if it breaks highs. And here's Pixie. Looks like this one now is halted to the downside. So we are not really getting a whole lot of movement before it just gets halted. That's unfortunate. All right, back to, let's see here. What do we have moving? So we have staff halted to the upside, Pixie halted to the downside. I guess we could take a look at Brea finally, right? What's going on in Brea? Looks like we had a drop at the open, and now it's trying to recover, trying to recapture some of these EMAs, specifically that 200 EMA right there at 134. Let's see if we can get back above that one and take out this consolidation. Could see some resistance as a result of this here. This is going to be a supply zone, but if we can chew through that, I'd be looking up here at this next EMA, which is the 65. We can't see my face. Oh crap! That wasn't my. There we go.
There we go.
Were you not able to hear me either?
No, we could hear you. I just was
Okay.
I was just going full screen on the chart so we could see those candles a little bit better.
No. They want to see this too.
Oh, okay.
All right. So let's see what we got next here. Yeah, there is lots of red. It's, not looking great for some of these smaller names that were running yesterday, but apparently the looks like a lot of the Max 7 are doing well. You have Apple doing well there. I'm sorry, not Apple. Amazon doing well there. Google, Apple not doing good. Meta, Microsoft, and Nvidia having a nice morning. Tesla and Apple and Google not so much, but they aren't too far away from going positive. All right, let's see here. Back to Brea. We're chewing our way through this supply. See if it can get going. SGD was also getting mentioned here. This thing having some interesting price action. Really need to get above that VWAP. That's what we want to see next. Not this, not down here. So stop it. Staff open. All right. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I have to look all the way over here, see what you guys are talking about, and then all the way back over here. Look at my chart. Yeah, there we go. Staff open and breaking above VWAP. We're going to look for $6. Who said $6? I think you guys mentioned that earlier. Good mention. But yeah, $6 in staff STAF. Yeah, 675 to 7. Is that what you're looking for in staff G Summer? Oh, I'm sorry. You were talking Knicks. My bad. But yeah, that's what I'd be looking for with staff, a breakout of over 6. That's the big resistance level going all the way back here. TVGN, says Edward. So with this one, trying to hold the VWAP, we can move off of that and get back up here. This is where we want to see this get taken out. Need to clear this first. That's going to be the big hurdle. We do that, I think we're going to test this. And by this, I mean 190. Just have to make sure we hold VWAP and turn around. LIC going crazy. Lithium Americas. Oh, yeah, up almost 10%. Okay, so this is kind of interesting here. Back and forth. This looks like a heart monitor almost. Trying to get through 365. It's like we're pushing right now. And then after that, this high, which is 368. And then we can have that, we can look forward to 375. See what happens next here. But that's the level I'd be watching for right now is 368. See if we can get above that. It looks like Brea is suspended now. Man, so basically these 100% movers this morning have all taken turns getting suspended. It's like they're the bad kids in high school. Staff pushing up. Looking good. It was pushing up just a second ago. Still above VWAP. Just want to hold that. Now, if it cools off a little bit, we just want to make sure it holds VWAP. But as soon as these EMAs start looking like they're about to cross, we could get some expansion in the volume. Maybe not this candle, but the next candle. And that'll take us up over the $6 level. BTC pop. Staff still trying to push. And it's looking like it's losing VWAP. Let me show you. Was that the one I just had on? Sorry. I thought I had something else on. NIX. Look at this. NIX got to bounce off the 65 EMA. Hasn't really recovered yet and gone back up to VWAP like we want to see. But it's good to see that at least 65 EMA is providing some measure of support. Also, we were looking at this down here earlier. This is a low of 634. So we got 655, so that we could still end up going a little bit lower on NIX before we try to turn around here. We just don't want to see these EMAs start to cross this, because that'll imply that there's more downside, and we could very well get that. NIX not looking particularly great this morning. Staff still waiting for that breakout, and we have Pixie halted to the downside again, and Brea just opened. Let's take a look at Brea. That's a good one. Brea, here we go. So we want to get a little bit of a push here up to the 65 EMA, chewing through this consolidation here. We take this out, we're going to have another visit with the VWAP. Staff dip. Did it end up going down? Oh yeah, couldn't get above that 565 level. So there's Brea right now. It looks like Brea is about to be halted to the upside. Let's take a look at staff here. Oops. That fingered that caps lock key. So staff losing VWAP. That's not what we want to see. So if we do start losing that, we have this candle here with the high providing some support. We lose that, then the next level is going to be these EMAs that we want to hold up the price, turn around and recapture VWAP. That's what we're going to be watching for here on this one. And it seems like 445, 446, somewhere in there. That seems like a pretty good support level if you draw a line right here, go all the way back. So let's see if we get that out of staff.
All right, just catching up on the chat here, seeing if we've got anything. What about some of the crypto names? So we got, I guess we don't have all the crypto charts here on Pro, but can we just look at Bitcoin real quick?
Sure, let's take a look at BTC USD. And that's a 5-minute. We want to look at a day chart. All right, so we are over 67,000 again. We broke into the 68,000 handle yesterday. Why does it seem like, okay, I don't think I have correct price action on this today. Let me go back to the 5-minute. Nope, that's not right either. Well, I'm not sure what's happening here with this Bitcoin chart, but it seems like it's trying to get back above or hold 67,000 so it can get back above 68. That's kind of the read I have on this one. Of course, when it comes to Bitcoin, I'm not holding any. I like the ETFs. All right, so Brea, that kept going. Let me just go to a 5-minute here. So we pushed out over this consolidation here, almost up to that 65 EMA. That's going to be the first stop, probably resistance there. Got some more supply here going back to the after hours yesterday. So I expect that if we do, oh, look, we're getting a bit of a pull there now. I expect if we do touch this 65 EMA, we are going to get a bit of a pull, and it's going to take some time to chew through this consolidation on our way up to VWAP. We just need to make sure that this 200 holds here now, because if it doesn't, we're going to have a bad time. Yeah, BITO for Bitcoin. That's what I like. TVGN, says everybody. And I also look at staff too. So TVGN. Okay, almost a bit of a double top here. Pre-market and regular session. If we come down to VWAP, we're going to want to see that that bounce. We're going to want to see this VWAP hold and turn around there. That's the best case scenario at this point. Let's take a look at staff. It was getting mentioned as well. So staff popped, and we were talking about how this came back into VWAP. Now we're beneath it, trying to recapture. As long as these EMAs hold up, there's a good chance of that happening, but we cannot get any EMAs crossing VWAP until we're back above it. VSME halt. Let's take a look at VSME. Yeah, halted to the downside. Not looking great. Now, what's the thought here with VSME? Are we looking for some, maybe a bounce down here in the 150 area or 125 area? What's the thought here with VSME? Or are we just looking at this because it had price action this morning? And you tell me. TSM ripping higher into blue skies. I don't think anybody's surprised, but thank you for letting me know, RP Trades. All right, what else are we looking at? Staff about to go. Oh, look at that. Look at that recapture of the VWAP. That was a big move. And if we can break this, looks like we're going to get our 6 print. This is not what we want to see. Multiple wicks up here. What does this indicate, folks? Don't want to see that. Not saying that this is what we're going to get, but this is not what we want to see. Just be careful. This could turn into this. Staff popping. Yeah, we're seeing that. We just want to make sure we're not going to get ourselves caught in something if we're going long here. We don't want to do that. We do not want to go long here. Yeah, exactly. Birthday cake. We don't want these candles getting blown out, because what happens after the birthday cake's gone? Party's over. All right, Brea halted again. Holy cow! Halted the downside after popping. Really wants to try for that VWAP now. Man, at 200 EMA, catching it again. Hopefully, when we unhalt, it's not a violent knife down, because that would mean time to look for something else. All right, let's go back to staff real quick. We're getting that move. Oh, where'd my whip go? RCAT disappointing the last few days. Yeah, Sydney Osborne, AVGO. I'm sure that one's doing really well. That's a relationship trade with TSM. Yeah, having a good day there. RCAT, let's take a look at that, and we'll go back to those movers. Yeah, that's not a good formation. That implies there's more downside coming. You said it's not having a series of good days. No, it is not. 3 down days. Back to this whole area here. What do you think it comes down to the 65 EMA before it stops selling off? Not sure. Maybe we get some consolidation down here around 3. That would be the best case scenario. No position in RCAT for me. You want to try TVGN here? FOMO? Be careful. We don't want to get that FOMO bug. That gets a lot of people hurt. Sorry, I was just taking a look at something. What was that? TVGN? 5 minutes. Yeah, because if you bought in there and it's still going down, you're not having a good time. I mean, if you're going to buy anywhere and you want to try this, I think that down here at the VWAP or these EMAs would be a better shot at going long for a turnaround. But that's just my opinion. Let's take a look at staff, because we just had a new 5-minute candle start. We want to see what's going on with that. So yeah, there we go. There's our wicks. All right. So are we going to get this birthday cake blown out, or are we going to we're all going to get served some we're all going to get served a piece? You get this EMA to cross VWAP, that's going to be a good sign, but we need to hold above VWAP. Staff turning the hell out of that float. That's a good point. Let's take a look at that. Session volume 31 million shares, average volume 1.29. You got that right, buddy. RCAT was expecting SR awards at the AUSA Expo, and it didn't come yet. So thinking about it, kind of telling us here that there's a bit of an opportunity in this weakness with RCAT, as they're still expected to get those contracts. Is that what I'm hearing? Thinking about it. All right. Looks like staff still trying to make that push. Just be careful, because we don't get that. We lose VWAP. Could go lower, much lower. Aaron, you watching the playoffs?
The baseball playoffs?
That's what we're getting asked.
Are they going on right now at 10 a.m.?
I don't know. We're just getting
I had to do something for my morning newsletter real quick, but I just finished it up, so I'm going to be more involved now. If you guys want to talk about anything. But I don't. I mean, just full disclosure for I don't come on the show too much. I don't typically like day trade like I know a lot of this audience does. So I'm more like following the news stories, figuring out what's going on with the fundamentals of the companies, and things like that. So I'm happy to talk about any news that we have on the companies or why a certain sector is hot, why a certain stock is moving. But I'm not as good as you guys are at like going through these screeners, finding these small cap stocks, finding these runners, and getting in on them. But with that said, again, just let us know in the chat which stocks you guys are watching, and we'll check them out. And I'm happy to hop in and give my very, novice technical reading on some of these charts because it's fun.
Yeah, technicals are fun. I'll be the first to admit that.
You know what else is fun? Fundamentals.
See, I'm not the only one, folks, who bring the dad jokes.
That wasn't a dad joke. That was just a good joke. Come on now, give me some props for that, chat.
I'll give you props for that one, being a dad and all.
Oh, I didn't know you're a dad. You're a dad. 13. Congrats.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts about Rocket Lab long term? RKLB. Let's see. RKLB. Why was I like my brain is just so many stocks, so many day every day. There's different stocks moving. And I remember this one was moving a few days ago for some reason. I don't remember exactly why. Was Rocket Lab one of the companies that was linked with? Okay, no, never mind. Rocket Lab is engaged in space, building rockets and spacecraft. Is Rocket Lab like involved with SpaceX at all? Were they the ones that caught the rocket? Because that was pretty cool. 13.
No, SpaceX. Oh, absolutely. I watched the whole thing. I was up early in the morning watching it, but SpaceX is the one that caught it. They launched, they did the whole thing. I think what you're getting with Rocket Lab is just a relationship trade on that because Tesla was up.
I didn't know if Rocket Lab like somehow was like involved with SpaceX. Like maybe they provided some form
components, maybe.
I don't know.
Possibly.
But either way, like you said, the relationship trade is there because once you see that the catching the rocket from that SpaceX did, it kind of puts some attention on the overall industry where they're like, oh, look at what's going on in the rocket world. And so Rocket Lab it was getting a lift off from that. They launched, Fairchild is saying. So yeah, I mean, like, look, I think rockets are cool. I don't. Honestly, my thoughts on it long term though is like I would probably if you gave me $100,000 to invest right now, probably all of it would be going into other places and not Rocket Lab.
Well, the one thing that's interesting about the whole SpaceX launch is, of course, we caught the tower, but one of the things that I like to think about is what we're actually sending up into space. The internal capacity of the Starship, just the ship itself, about the same internal capacity of the entire ISS, the International Space Station. That space station took over a decade to build. Over 30 countries were involved, billions of dollars. And we're sending up one vehicle that gets that internal capacity up into space in a matter of minutes. I think it's important to level with that reality that we are now putting International Space Station volumes up in a matter of minutes. We have that capability now. Getting back to STAF, this is still above VWAP, but it is looking a little shaky here. As long as it holds above VWAP, it's encouraging. And maybe one more candle holding above VWAP, that would be enough to entice buyers to come in and lift this up into the $6 handle. That's what we want to see. We want to get that $6 print. But if we lose VWAP, then it's going to be a different story. Lunar is as frustrating as our cat. She's, yeah. Well, Sideshow, when it comes to Lunar, and I've got some of that as well, I agree. It's a little frustrating, but one of the things I've done with Lunar is kind of just get a little bit of a core position and then just trade around that. On days that it's weak, add that. I've been adding. And then on days when it rips, just, trim, chop some of that off and get back to your core position. Especially if you believe that Lunar has a good long-term catalyst coming up. And, seeing as how they're sending spacecraft up and sending it to the moon and whatnot, and they have contracts with NASA worth billions of dollars. I think there's a good long-term argument here to be made for Lunar. So for the time being, I'm just trading around a core position with Lunar. Yes, the thing about it is correct. Lunar is still up for direct-to-earth communication award that's due to come. Now, thinking about it, is that going to be this month, or it's at least going to be this quarter, right? I think that's what we're looking at here with Lunar. Yeah, competition will fire up in this sector, absolutely. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these tickers that we're getting here. News Pop. This is the one that we I mentioned briefly when we started the show here that was looking interesting. So we finally getting some movement out of this one after we initially dropped. But this is a penny stock, so I don't really have any interest in this one. Under $1. Now, if we do get this to push up some more, and we're above all our EMAs, I'm sorry, I don't even have this on the screen. Not used to that, folks. Sorry. So this is so we're looking for 64 cents. Well, at least that's what I have in my broker. 64 cents was the pre-market high. Looks like in Benzinga here it's 59. Let's say that if we can push a little bit higher, 60 cents seems to be where we want to get up to and over. But if you're just looking for a quick capture of some movement, maybe that movement from 55 cents to 60 might be what you're looking for here. Just need a little bit more volume expansion to get that, but it could happen. All right. Yeah, don't get flushed out. The fundamentals were good. Kicker to race. It's interesting. So, fundamentals will come back one day. They seem to be kind of on the back burner at the time. Technicals seem to be at the forefront. Fundamentals will come back.
The way I view it is like, a lot of people I think are, fully technical and they don't care what a company does. They're just looking at charts, and you can make money trading that way, and you can be a successful trader that way. And then, on the flip side, when it comes to investing, like buying and holding long term, I do think fundamentals matter. And you can also use charts when you're investing long term to find good entry points. So like I like to do both. I don't think it has to be one or the other. I would say, when it comes to short-term trading, technicals are far more important. Technicals and news, of course, which, are correlated because you'll get technical movements based on news. And then when it comes to investing, fundamentals are more important because you want a company that has strong fundamentals, that is showing strong growth if you're going to buy and hold for the long term. And a lot of times, like Warren Buffett, he says he doesn't care about charts whatsoever because that's not what he's looking at. He's looking at how much is a company making, what's their balance sheet look like, what's their cash flow, how overvalued or undervalued is it. So, it's different strokes for different folks, but I think at the end of the day, there's no reason you can't incorporate both. But if you're just talking about, hey, this small cap, stock, like a company like Oklo, if you're trading Oklo, you're not looking at the fundamentals because this company ain't making no money, but it can make you money if you're trading it well.
Yeah, I use fundamentals for when I do long term. But these names that we're trading today, these junk stocks, the fundamentals kind of get thrown out the window, except when you're looking at companies like this that don't have a large cash position. There's that element that they may do a cash raise through an offering. So you have to keep that in mind when you're trading this. And we've seen some of these names get halted intraday, and then they make that offering, and then they absolutely crater. So we have to at least take a look at that and make that consideration when we're trading this junk. Staff is done. Because I think I had it on the screen when it was losing the VWAP, yeah. So what do you know, folks? The birthday cake was not a lie. Now let's see if it's looking like we're putting in some wicks down at the bottom here, which is better indication. But we need to get a recapture of VWAP here, and that's not happening. Looks like the MACD, you can't really tell from here, but it looks like it's starting to roll over as well. Let me just bring up staff. Yeah, it's looking like the MACD is starting to weaken. All right, so until we get a recapture of VWAP, staff looks a little bit more bearish. What else are we looking at here? Someone say they smashed their face in birthday cake. Do I think it's done? I wouldn't say it's done. We still have like a bunch of EMAs where the price could come and find support. like look at this area here. This is a demand zone. So we come down to here, we could get some support and maybe even a reversal. So that's something to watch for with staffing. But for the time being, it looks like it's going to go. It could go lower from where it's currently at. You think it'd go back to 5.2? Sure, we can get back up there. I won't say that we can't, but we need to recapture that VWAP. That's important. We're beneath it now. That's usually not a good sign. Brea halted to the downside. Pixie looks like this one's trying to recover. Need to get back above this area here. Nice to see that we got some support from the 65 EMA though. AMD is a cream puff. I don't know what that means. Let's take a look. Wow. All right, folks. So this is a cream puff. What are we getting? Looks like we're coming down to this area here where we got this price is getting resisted after it dropped yesterday. So if we don't get some support from this area here, which it currently looks like it is, I think that maybe we go down to 156. Overall market pressure is down. Well, you know, let me take a look at the SPY and see what we ended up getting here. 583. So that's much lower than what we were seeing in pre-market. Oh, yeah. So we made a new all-time high out of the gate and then just dropped. Wonderful. I want to see this market correct so we can go higher. We have not had a meaningful correction in some time. And I'm not even going to count that yen carry trade. I think that was just more of a panic.
That was a scary panic, though. That Monday, I mean, we were getting absolutely crushed. The VIX had its biggest spike in like years.
Mm-hmm. Which to me indicates that there really is a lot of fear in the market. But I think that there was just a lot of, let's call it playing chicken. There's a lot of chicken playing in the market right now.
What do you mean by that?
So it seems like everybody knows that we need to come back in, like the market needs to correct. We need to, but they're just going to keep riding this momentum. They want to keep pushing it higher. Every time that there's a dip, the dip buyers come in. Even though I feel like they know they shouldn't, they're still buying every dip. At some point, that the dip is not going to be able to get bought. The sellers are just going to come in too heavy. It's going to absolutely crush all kinds of people in the market, and you're going to see a massive run for the exit on the day that happens. That's what I'm looking for. This hasn't happened yet. We need to get. Sorry to cut that short, but to me, I think it's just going to be a matter of who blinks first. You know, the bulls or the bears, and we have the Fed playing chicken with Congress. You know, in terms of rate raises, you know, there's a lot of things Congress needs to do in order to get spending down, but at the same time, we have we're borrowing more and more money in order to fund government operations and our debts. It's unsustainable. Anyway, I don't want to get into Debbie Downer mode. We have money to made in these stocks. Pixie trying to recapture these EMAs. We want to see a recapture of VWAP as well. We've got to get through this area here first, though. This is going to be a bit of a supply zone. Elon, are you saying long, or is this a company you're looking at? LONG. Not seeing that. Oh, Pixie halted down. I'm sorry, not halted down, halted damn. I did not read that correctly. My bad. So it looks like NUZE, Brea, and Pixie are all halted right now. Let's take a look at staff and see what we're getting. Yep. What do you know? Support from that 65 EMA, at least for the time being. So here we are in this demand zone, 65 EMA right there. This is where we want to see the price turn around and come back up to VWAP. That would be ideal. We lose this, we're going, obviously we're going lower, but I would not want to be, I would have my stops, right about here. That's just me. You put your stop where you feel is the best. I don't want to lose more than this demand zone. That would be my risk tolerance there. But I think we're coming, it looks like we're trying to push back up. We just need to clear those EMAs and recapture that VWAP. I'm not bearish. I'm ultimately more bullish, but Martin, as I've been saying for a long time, you know, this market has been absolutely parabolic, and we need to come back in and we need to have a corrective move. Healthy markets do that all the time. We have not got that, and I don't count that yen carry trade as one. And sure, I'm not right today. That well, maybe I am. I mean, the SPY was certainly not looking very good today, but you know, I get your point. I've been calling for you know, downside moves for the longest time. We haven't been getting them. You know, I got excited with this, and then this was like, and now here we are. But anyway, eventually we'll get that that downside so that we can go higher. It's just that the higher we go, the more parabolic we go without a meaningful correction. The worse it's going to be when we actually do have a correction. Gotcha. Okay. How much do you rely on the 65 EMA? It's a very strong EMA. I don't know that I could, you know, speak on how much of a reliance it is, but usually I'm not looking for the 9 or the 15 for reversals or support. It's usually going to be the 65 or the 200 where we get that. So I would say I rely on it more heavily than I do the smaller ones, if that makes sense. Let's go back to some of these names that we were trading. So Brea is now open. Sorry, not used to moving around the charts since that's a Faloona kind of thing. Okay, so Brea, this one losing the 200 now. That's not a good sign. The last hope we have here for this one is support at 109, where we had the bottoming at the open. We lose that, probably going back to $1 or lower. That's not a good sign either. So let's move on from Brea. Let's look at what do we want to look at? TVGN seems to have found some support. Let's see here. So right about in that area, 145. I'll say maybe at best. I don't feel great about that being support. Hopefully I'm wrong, but if it's not going to hold up, I'd say maybe 140 is a better bet. And if we don't hold up 140, then look what's next, the 65 EMA, which is right in this area where we were getting a after hours pop. So 130. We lose 140, 130 would be my next spot. Is 65 EMA just on the 5-minute? So for the EMAs that I use, they work very well across all time frames. So if you look at, let's say, a 15-minute, there's your 65 EMA down there. Hasn't really been, well, you can see how it's provided support in the past. But yeah, I tend to use the 5-minute since that's always, that works, that tends to work out the best for me. And for me and these EMAs usually. What else are we looking for here? Tesla, waiting for Tesla to lose a 219 support. Good. I'm interested in Tesla at 200. IRDM consolidating on slight pullback. Looks like staff is losing the 65, or in the process of losing the 65 EMA or testing it. Let me just pull that up real quick before we go to IRDM. Show you what I'm talking about here. So here's 65 EMA. Now, the fact that we're getting these wicks on the bottom here, that's encouraging, but I don't want to say that we're going to absolutely 100% reverse. But this is a demand zone here. This is where if we are going to reverse, this is the area where we would get that reversal. All right, now let's look at IRDM. Okay, so would this company have earnings better than expected Q3 revenue and raise their, wow, OEBITDA guidance? Okay. So it looks like we're coming off that high there, but the EMA is probably going to be one of the better spots for support. What's the float on this like? So here's the problem I have with this one. The float is large. And as I've mentioned before with these large float movers, what they'll end up doing is they'll have some pops throughout the day, but ultimately they end up leaking to the downside. The supply is just too heavy to push up because it's over 100 million. So if we
13.
do, what's that?
I think we're having a fire drill in the office right now. I might need to leave for a few minutes.
All right. Well, how do you want to handle this if it goes to the end of the show?
I don't think it'll go to the end of the show. There's no way it'll last. What time you guys usually go to 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be back in probably I'll venture to say 15 to 20 minutes. I don't know how long a fire drill takes.
Well, I just have to think back to when they all made us line up and knock out us. Yeah, exactly. So that could be a 20 or 30-minute ordeal. Hopefully you'll be back. Yes, exactly, Dr. Manred. Life before profit. Save yourself, Aaron.
I think it's a drill. I don't think there's an actual fire. All right, I gotta go.
All right. See?
I hope it's not an actual fire.
I hear it too.
Oh, you do hear it? All right. Well, I'll remove myself so that the sound doesn't.
Well, you know what? Hopefully somebody replaced the batteries in the smoke detector. That's all I got to say. All right. What are we looking at, folks? It seems like staff is still trying to hold that 65 EMA. Yes, we do want him to stay safe. Everybody in the building, stay safe. So here we are with that 65 EMA still providing some support. Like I said, this is where we want to see the reversal happen, right in this area here. So that's what we're getting. That'd be great news. We want to see it move through these other two EMAs and recapture VWAP. It better be a draw. When 13 goes, the chat will take over the show. Hey, maybe that would be that'd be a fun field trip kind of day. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know how that would work. VSME curling. All right, let's take a look at that. Okay. So this one was getting support from the 200, lost that, and then we looks like we found a bit of a level here from this demand zone, and now we're trying to recapture the 200. So if we recapture the 200, then we would be looking at that 415 level again to take out. And look at how that was resisted from this supply area here after it dropped. Came down, tried to trade back up, tried to recapture this. Supply zone said no. Everybody that was caught here was selling here. So we could end up getting that if we push back up into this area. But if we take that out, we'll be back to looking at this one again. Pixie up. Is Tinkerbell flying away, that little pixie? Oh, yeah. And what do you know? 65 EMA provided the support. Now we're trying to get through this demand zone. I'm sorry, supply zone, and test that VWAP. Almost there. We can get a little bit more volume extension, kind of like how this candle, candle got it. We can push through that. Watch for volume, expanding volume to get through VWAP. Don't flirt with the girls now. I have no witty response for that comp. Maybe I'll have to think about one. Solo hits? What are you talking about, Elon? Anyway, staff could be going. Let's bring that up real quick and see what you're talking about here. Look at that. Look at that. 65 EMA. Strong. Strong for now. Let's get that VWAP retest. News $1. Am I pronouncing that right? News. N-U-Z-E. Or Nuzzy. Oh, wow. Well done. So this is ripping. Let's see where, now for this one, I want to see where some resistance levels are at. I'm probably have to go to a longer time frame for that. So let's look at a day here. Oh, look at this. Look what we got here. Coming up to the 65 EMA on the daily chart. That is at 114, which interestingly is just beneath this 118. Looks like this is a support area here. I think we're going to test this EMA, folks. We can get through this, which looks like this was a particular level as well. at that $1 area. That'd be the sell area for me. RSI still has some room, but it is pretty overcooked on the 5-minute. Look at that, 87 RSI. At some point, this is going to have to cool off. Keep that in mind, folks. This is going to come in, and when it does, it may come into that VWAP for a test. Now I can buy news? Yes, because it's over $1, right? Well, I don't want to chase up here. What do you use to find stocks that are potentially going up? Start with a scan. You know, we're looking for one thing you can do, and this is very easy. You can just look at a relative volume scan. That's where anything that's trading 1.5 times the volume or 2 times the volume that it did yesterday, and it's doing that in pre-market, that's usually a good place to start to find stocks that are that could run in the regular session. You end up going through a basket of them, looking at their charts, seeing if you know how much upside they potentially could have, where the different levels are, and then you make a decision from there. But EK Gordo usually starts with scans, and it usually starts with volumetric scans, things that have a lot of good volume that are helping the price move up. That's a good place to start. Take my shares of news. I swear it's a good deal, 100% markup, and he's out. Well done on your trade on NUZE, Anthony. Do I own any oil plays in my long-term portfolio? You know what? I do. And here's, I'll tell you what they are. A lot of them are midstream. And I wanted to get Chevron at a lower price, but I think I may have missed the boat on it. But I do have a position in XIII, so I am in that ETF. As far as my other names for oil, let's see here. I have, so bear with me while I bring those up. I had some midstreams. Just give me a second. I'll look those up for you. Enbridge is one of them. I think I may have actually dropped the other one I thought I had, but Enbridge was one in XLE. So I do have some exposure to oil, but I would like some of these retailers a little bit lower. But yes, I do have some in my long-term portfolio. My thoughts on DVN and SLB? I'll take a look at those, and we'll get back to some of these movers. All right, how about that? So DVN, and I'll look at the long-term chart on this because not going to be interested in, but they're doing intraday. So for DVN, let me turn these on here. Turn those off. All right. So for me, Devon Energy. We have this death cross here, so that implies that there's more downside coming. It is, RSI is not oversold. Without looking deeper into the fundamentals and what this has got going on, because I'm sure there's some things that are interesting there, it seems like this is probably going to end up going down to test 40 even, maybe even lower. I need to see this start recapturing the lagging moving averages, the simple moving averages. The fact that we couldn't hold above the 50, not a great sign. I need to see this recapture the 20 and the 50. That would be a good sign for me. But for the time being, it looks like it may end up going lower. The only thing that's going to turn the whole oil sector around is, of course, we've talked about it, any Israeli response to Iran on their oil infrastructure. That's likely going to send oil stocks into a frenzy. Let's see. What's my list when we correct? I don't know if we have time to go through that. I'll tell you what, Martin. If you keep coming back here, I'll share some ideas I have for what's on my list. But I'll tell you right now, I've been buying a lot of UPS. I think that was, and I buy these things for because of their dividend as well. It was a yield of 5% when it was under 130. We're moving up, obviously, but if we do turn around and go back down, I have orders out to pick up more. I'm very bullish on UPS long term. And you also asked about SLB. Let me do that, and then we'll go back to these junky names. Well, the fire drill is occurring. Okay, so this one looking a little bit better. Silver cross here, trying to stay above the 20-day SMA, holding the 50 for the time being. This one looks a lot more encouraging than DVN, but it looks like 46. That's a big resistance level. Look at how it's been rejected there multiple times, and it was previously support. It looks like as well. So we start moving up on SLB. I think 46 is going to be the big question mark. Do we break out there, or do we get rejected again? That would be my thought. Yeah, I agree, Scapegoat. DDN is a great company. Both these companies that I'm talking about, they're great. It's just, they're just going through a bit of a weak time. Do I have MPLX? I do not, but I do like midstreams, and I like midstreams in particular because there's a dual purpose use on those. So the hydrogen is starting to become a big energy player, and we're going to see a lot. I think we're going to see a lot of diversification in how energy is produced going forward. Obviously, nuclear is starting to become a big thing. We might see more wind, solar, and hydro power generation. So just some things to watch for. But having pipes that can transport multiple kinds of fuels, I think that's where midstreams are the most attractive to me. All right. Oh, and SLB has earnings tomorrow. Okay, well, there we go. There's something. We are in earnings season, so of course. What's my strategy on Bitcoin? I really don't have a big one. It's really just looking at the levels and seeing. It's more of a technical strategy. Technicals is what I've got for Bitcoin. Yes, Fairchild storage is big too. Sorry, let's go back to these movers because we were getting off topic here with some of these energy plays. So Pixie. Let me turn on the correct moving averages here. Here we go. So this one looks looking a little bit weaker. Still seems like this is a potential support area, as is the 65 EMA. We come down to 65 EMA this next turn. I'm not sure we're going to see as much support. The more of these the price hammers the any moving average, the less likely that moving average is to provide the resistance or support whatever direction it's going in at the time. So we come down here and we start hammering this EMA. We're going to go lower. That's just the way it works sometimes. DKL is an oil midstream that just got hit close to 11 dividend. What's going on with that particular midstream is what I want to see and look into. Let's go back to what's interesting here. Do we get anything good out of staff? Did that thing end up? Nope, couldn't get back up to VWAP. Back down here at 65 EMA. And like I said, with this last one we were looking at, the more we hang out here, there you go. The more we hang out here with these moving averages, the more they get hammered. This is what happens. So here we are back down into this the demand zone. Not sure we're going to get the price action we're looking for. We have this EMA, the shorter time frame EMA now crossing the longer time frame EMAs. As soon as that starts to get down here, we're going to see some more downside. We might be done here with staff, folks. It just depends on if the last ditch effort of let's call it 360 or 350, somewhere in there. If we don't get the support there, 200 EMA is where we're headed. Staff is dead to you. There you go. NIX. Let's take a look and see how NIX is doing. Trying to get back above that EMA. And if we get a crossing here, we're going lower. I think this is it's implying that there's going to be a downside move to the 200, and you might see a little bit of support around. Well, we could call it around the 5 level. You're going to want to you're going to want to see that support at the 5 level. I think that's what we're going to get. Look at this resistance on the initial move, and then the breakout over 5. Now we're coming back to test that as a support level. And as I said, the more we hammer these support levels, whether it be an EMA or a previous level like a $5 handle, more of a chance it's going to lose it. I think the 200 is going to be up if we start to lose this area. NIX looks like a reversal, not a lot of sellers that you can see. Well, I don't like this formation. This looks bearish. Now, maybe you're right. Maybe we are consolidating and it's trying to push back up. I'd want to here. I'll do this. Oh, I'm seeing some spam motion. Please with the spam, bud. Let's not do that. I appreciate you giving me the information, but I mean, look, I don't know that it was worth the spam. I don't know if it was worth that, but look, it's making some moves. Not very big ones. NIX, on the other hand, I think it is it could recover, but it needs to recapture that 65 EMA. And then you have this resistance here at about 7. See that? There. So that's my take on an IXX. We recapture the 65 EMA. I'd be looking at 7. But to me, looks like we're getting rejected. It is a block kind of day, Sideshow. You're right. It's a block kind of day. Not like yesterday where we had all kinds of things happening. That was fun. Trying to fix his typos? Well, I guess. He got it right the second time. All right. So, yeah. Okay. So there's NIX starting to lose altitude. Staff also going down. Man. So there's a $3 area. That's where we're looking for with staff for some support. Brea also doing the same. Losing that. Looks like 108, 109. If you lose that, $1 is next. Yeah, Dr. Manfred, I think that's a good point. Don't force it. Just take an early break. This day hasn't been great. Things have not been working out like we'd like to see them. If you are having some trades not work out, call it a day. You know, we'll be back here tomorrow. We'll probably have a better day tomorrow. And we do hope ADB survives. News trying for high a day. Did we halt? We sure did. But we're still pretty extended here. Now, I don't know what's going to happen out of the halt. Now, is this what you were talking about, Motion? Was that this was about to happen? Because that would have been helpful. I didn't know that you were flagging that this was about to happen. Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're looking at it right now. It just had a nice shoot up, but this was formerly a penny stock. That's why I wasn't looking at it this morning. But hey, now that it's over $1, I can, right? Britt asking about Netflix. Is the China stimulus play done? I don't necessarily think it is. I think there's more coming, but let me get back to you on that, because I without Ryan here, because I know he also has a take on that, and I think he had some information on whether or not that's the case. My understanding is that they're not finished; they're mulling it, but I don't know when that next round is coming. It might be just before the election. To be honest, it might be just in that week before the election and the days coming up to like toward the end of October. that's when we might get either an announcement or actually see some of that stimulus come in. So I think that's what we're looking for here. NIX dropped like a rock. Well, it got rejected at 65 EMA. I mean, if it drops like a rock, that looks like that move might be coming. But
we survived the fire drill.
A pretty good drop here. Any plays from the EU rate drop? I don't have anything, unfortunately, Fairchild. Looks like Israel may have killed the leader of Hamas, Sinwar.
Hello, hello.
Well, if they have to, get that humanitarian crisis wrapped up within the next month, I guess that's going to affect their arms deals that they have with the U.S. I guess that's the step they needed to take, right?
13, can you hear me right now?
Getting into that. Let's talk stocks.
Can the chat hear me?
Oh, hey, AB.
Hey.
You are muted.
Am I? What about now?
EVGN pop.
I think everyone can hear me, but you, 13.
Okay. Here we go. We're coming back over some of these EMAs, and we're trying to recapture VWAP. That's encouraging.
I'm speaking into the void right now.
Yeah, we do not hear you, Aaron.
No, everyone can hear me, but you.
Oh wait, you know what? Maybe it's me then.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, there we go.
All right, there we go.
It was me.
I'm not speaking into the void anymore. The building I would give so the building that Benzinga's office is in is a pretty big office building in downtown Detroit. So there's a bunch of different companies, Rocket Mortgage, there's a Microsoft office. So, I could only speak for our Benzinga office, and we were in like the top 1% of companies and how fast we got out of here. I tried to hunker down and stay as long as I can, but they kicked me out. So, yeah, it was fine though.
Yeah, sorry, I had my headphones will shut off automatically if there's no sound coming through them. So I guess that was the fire drill's fault.
All right, well, I'm glad we're all back now. We've got about 20 minutes left of the show. When I left 13, the S&P 500 was leaking. Have we started to come back at all?
Let's take a look. We have not been looking at this five. We've been looking at a bunch of other things and talked oil for a little bit. Looks like on the 5-minute chart, we are trying to turn around here. We may be getting an inverse head and shoulders on the 5-minute. Let's see if that resolves. Maybe not. I guess what we're going to want to see is a recapture of 584.50. That'd be the best case scenario if that's the pattern that we're getting here. Because you got a little bit of a shoulder here, the head here, and a little bit of a shoulder here. But this wick is a little weird. But here's what we need to do. We need to kind of break over this pretty much kind of like this level here. We take that out, which is basically kind of where VWAP is. Looks like if we take out VWAP, we could go higher. But for now, hasn't turned around yet.
All right, I got a stock that you guys probably don't talk about a lot on this show, and it's not really, I wouldn't say set up for a day trade right now, but I'm looking at it as a potential swing trade, and that would be ticker VSCO. And so if you zoom out a little bit, so we're on the 5-minute chart here, 13. If we want to go out to like an hour or daily, yeah, go to the daily. Okay. Go to the daily real quick and zoom out a little bit, and you can see this thing has broken out. It's up over 60% in the last. It's up over 60% in the last 6 months. You go back to May, it was a $17 stock. Now it's a $28 stock. And what's interesting to me when I'm looking at the kind of longer chart here, 13, is that back in February, we got stopped out right at $30. It acted as resistance, that $30 level, and we've been inching closer and closer to that level. So there's previous resistance at 30. If we break through that $30 level, I'm going to go long Visco here, Victoria's Secret, with a price target of around $40, $45. And there is precedent here over the last couple of years where we've seen some brands like American Eagle, like Abercrombie, that, you know, were out of favor. And then as soon as these like retail brands start moving, they move. And Victoria's Secret, I believe, is like picking up some steam now on TikTok and stuff like that. So Victoria's Secret is one that I'm eyeing here.
I like the way this chart looks. I'm going to mark off that $30 level just for you because I like that. It looks like we're getting a double bottom here. That's very prominent. We also have a golden cross. There's a lot of bullish indicators in this. So let's look at it this way. Because the RSI is approaching 70 and we're also approaching 30, my first thought is that, yeah, 30 gets a rejection, but after it cools off, the next visit, it could break through. What do you think?
Yeah, no, again, I think that $30 level is going to be, you know, very pertinent to this move here. And it's my investment, my trade on this is dependent on Victoria's Secret crossing that $30 level. Then I would put a long on there with a price target of around $40. And I would probably put a stop right below $30 so that if it doesn't go, if the momentum doesn't give me past that, oh yeah, what's going on with my dumpster blog site? Lulu, Visco, all good calls. Yeah, so this is my new my new ideas is I'm going to be dumpster diving 13. I'm going to find stocks that are in the gutter, these forgotten about stocks that other people have thrown away. And you know what they say? They say one man's trash is another man's treasure. And I will find stocks that are drawn down, you know, 50, 60, 70% and find some value in them. Buy them. Maybe even a Celsius could get interesting here at some point. Which, speaking of $30 levels, Celsius is right around $30 flat. And so, you know, eventually, I'm not saying right now, I'm not saying tomorrow, I'm not saying, you know, really anytime in particular, but eventually I might take a stab here at Celsius.
Look at NUZE taking off. This one is halted into this move. Now at 151. Let's take a look here at this. Didn't we have 151 marked off? Let me just turn this off, turn that back on, and that back on. All right. So this thing is on a tear. Now we're looking at a daily chart since we're kind of above pretty much all the price action we've had for a while. So let's look at where this thing could go next if this is going to be moving on momentum. Looks like about 215, right about there, between there and about 255. That seems like an interesting spot for some resistance. And then, of course, you have this EMA right here, this 200 EMA, which is at 274. It's possible on this momentum, but just be careful because we are extended, folks. 74 RSI and 88 on the 5-minute chart. So it's going to whip around, but at least you have some levels to look forward to if we continue to go up. All right. And what else are we taking a look at? CELH. What are we looking at here? We're looking at this just absolutely lose its mind. Looks like you're coming down to support area. That's interesting. This is from Monday the 14th. Look for some support at about 3160. See what happens there. Take a look at a daily chart. See if you can draw any conclusions from this. Turn that on. Is that the 20-day SMA I see there? Sure is. So right now, CELH is getting some support from the 20-day SMA. This, I mean, looking at a daily chart, this particular level right here, just in general, the 331 handle looks interesting. Should see some support here in this one. And if we do, that could be an inverse head and shoulders taking shape. So we want to see, this is the scenario we want to see with CELH. Support from the continued support from the 20-day SMA. Even if it dips a little bit beneath there, we want to see a recapture and just kind of hold in this area and then come back up and take out the 50-day SMA where clearly it's been rejected. for quite a long time. There's your death cross back in July. I think it's been killed quite a bit enough, don't you? I'd say so. You would not be shocked to see Celsius test 30. Yeah. Look at all this. Here, let's just mark off 30 for you know, because Ryan wants to comment. Let's make that 30 even. And there you go. Look at that price action. So I'm there with you, man. 30 looks like a spot. That's if the 20-day SMA does not hold up. All right. We miss you too, Ryan. NUZE open and halted quick. Let's take a look.
Oh, Amanda, let us know what flavor Celsius you got, and if you have you drinking it already? Are you drinking it right now? How are you feeling? Let me know, because this is due diligence on my dumpster dive stocks, and I've been known to put down a Celsius here or two, and I enjoy them. I like them.
News halted to the downside. Looks like based on the breakout that it had earlier, it seems like 119, 120 is a spot of support. Don't know we're going to get that, being how extended we are, and now that we're accelerating to the downside. Let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. All right, looking through some of these other ones, looks like Staff still mulling, going lower. Pixie trying to still reverse. Brea looks like that's curling back up. I'll show you. Let me change these to the EMAs. So here we got those crossings, and look at that. That's what we don't want to see, even though that's what happens when these cross. So now we're getting some support from this previous low that we got here, and we're turning around. I don't know that it recaptures. It's going to have it's going to be a volume situation at this point in order to get back above these EMAs in this supply zone. So watch for expanding volume in Brea. That'll give you the indication that this has the potential to go higher. Just, man, that just looks like a lot of overhead that it's not going to be able to push through. But I could be wrong. Where is Al going? Probably to the barn. Let's take a look. Well, taking flight, that's for sure. Where does this one go? Wow. What is this? Al Capital? Look at this thing. RSI is extended. It doesn't even give a hoot. 84. So that's a good question. Where does this go? Don't see any previous price action. We're breaking out into blue skies. I think at this point, this is just a fib extension situation that you're looking at here. What's the news on this? So they had news that they're entering into an agreement with Eldridge. AI data center development. I'd have to do some more research on this, but looks like it reads well. Is there a squeeze happening here too? Is that what we're also getting? Yeah, kind of. 9% of the float shorted with 8.36 days to cover. That definitely puts it into a bit of a candidacy for a squeeze. And holy cow, are we squeezing? So don't know how high this goes, but I'd be very careful. This is something I wouldn't chase. Don't know where this is going to end up, but being that the RSI is extended, that makes this a lot riskier buying up here. So hopefully that's helpful to you.
So I like, sorry, I'm just kind of hopping in here, still talking about Celsius. I still like a nice hot coffee in the morning, especially now up here in Michigan. It's starting to get chilly. But if I'm drinking something for like a midday pick me up, I like the Celsiuses a lot. Add in, oh wait, no, you don't need it, Mark. You don't, no. No, you don't need to add add them to what? Your watch list? To your portfolio? What are you talking about? I'm talking about these are names that I'm adding to my potential name. They're names I'm adding to my potential watch list of names to watch to then maybe buy later down the road. So, these are not stocks I'm owning right now. Actually, I do own a little bit of Celsius, but I'm looking at making a bigger stab at Celsius at some point. What I was going to say about Celsius, last thing was I was driving. I was on a road trip not too long ago. I mean, it was probably a few months ago over the summer. I think I was driving home to St. Louis. And sometimes you're in the car and you've been driving a while and you get like really sleepy out of nowhere. That happened to me. And I pulled over and got a Celsius. I actually got two just in case I needed both. And I crushed the first one, like chugged it. And then I was good to go for like 3.5, 4 hours. And I don't know if it was a placebo effect or what, but I was like, man, that thing like really got me through this road trip. I think more so than a cup of coffee would have at that point. And I wonder how much, let's see how much caffeine does Celsius have compared to coffee. A 12-ounce can of Celsius contains more caffeine than a 12-ounce cup of coffee. A 12-ounce can of Celsius contains 200 milligrams of caffeine. A 12-ounce cup of coffee contains around 143 milligrams of coffee. So you do get a little bit of pick-me-up there. A nice little cold carbonated drink. Pretty good.
All right. And also pretty, I understand it's a pretty good thing to have a Celsius on a Fahrenheit kind of day.
Yep, exactly.
Now,
another dad joke. We're getting that part. All right. Thinking about it, that part was a joke. The part about being on my potential watch list for the watch list. Those are actually on my watch list. I just didn't know what Martin meant when he was adding them. And also, you can't tell me I better be right because hey, that's that don't happen a lot. So come on, don't put that pressure on me.
No, I'll stick with coffee for my energy drinks. It looks like TVGN getting back above VWAP. That's encouraging. We start getting these EMAs down here to get close to this VWAP. We could get some more momentum. This is great. So we are looking pretty good here with TVGN recapturing VWAP. Just need to see more volume expansion, and we can talk about getting back up to these 180 areas here.
Wait, where is Ryan right now? He's in the chat, but he's not here.
Yes, he's not in front of his computer. He's in, I believe, Arizona.
Oh, what part of Arizona, Ryan? What is your exact longitude and latitude right now?
He's in the hot part of Arizona.
The hot part of Arizona.
Yeah.
As opposed to
the less hot part.
Oh, TPC Scottsdale. All right, Ryan, let us know what you get on what's the famous the par 3? Is it 16, 17? I think it's 16. 17 is the famous one at TPC Sawgrass. Hole 16. I want to know what you get on that one, Ryan. Let me know.
AB, there's a question for you. Mitch Davis, how much is Benzinga Pro per month?
For you, Mitch? We'll say I honestly don't know off the top of my head. There are different levels to it. It's like there are levels to this stuff, and so Benzinga Pro, if you email me, Mitch, at Aaron Bree Aaron Bree at Benzinga.com. My brain is not working this morning. I'm sorry, guys. Aaron Bree at Benzinga.com. You email me, Mitch. Tell me that you're coming from the live trading show, and we'll get you the super special AB discount.
Oh wow!
Looks like the lowest tier is $37 per month. Yeah, actually, if you want to email James directly, that might be easier because I would just be a middleman in this transaction. I don't know if James is in the chat. Drop James's email in here, Faloona. Yeah, go low, Ryan. Go low, or don't come back. Ryan, are we bullish or bearish on the golf game right now heading in? Is there resistance at 95?
For what?
For his golf score.
Oh. So just kind of looking at some of these other names here.
Wait, Market Sniper wants to redo their trial on offer on Pro. Yeah, we could maybe give you another swing at the trial. Ryan's gonna break 95. Ryan, who are you there with? because I want to know. I want to know if I got left out of a nice little golf trip here. I'll be a little upset.
All right, so we're just taking a look at news. That's a halt to the upside. Thanks for mentioning that, folks. TVGN, this is back above VWAP. This is looks like we're going to get that 180. It's certainly looking that way. So hopefully we get that. We get these EMAs to cross. Higher than 180 is definitely possible. We just need to see this volume continue to expand. Staff not looking nearly as good. Let me just pull that one back up. This one, definitely, we got these EMA crossings headed lower. Looks like the 200 EMA is going to be the next spot of support. If you look at a longer time frame, we could probably draw on some of these areas too. Looks like this is going to be the area that we're kind of in right now, this supply turned demand zone. And after that, it's going to be down in here. So it looks like we're getting some support from these particular levels. Not sure we're necessarily turning around quite yet. Yeah, it looks like we're definitely going to be going lower. Maybe hitting 3 exactly.
Wait, Ryan's hitting the gym before golf? What an active day for Mr. Faloona over there. You got to remember, he's out in, I don't know what time zone Arizona's in, but it can't be past 9 a.m. there. So Faloona's getting up early. He's getting after it. He's hitting the gym. He's going to play golf. I mean, talk about a full day.
It's 7, almost 8 o'clock there.
Wow.
Almost 8 o'clock. 7:53 is what I got. I believe it's
at 4.
I believe that's
right.
what
Hey, this is what we do here at Benzinga. We get up at 4 a.m. to deliver you guys the best financial and market related content that you guys can find on YouTube, and then we go hit the links and play some golf, and that's the Benzinga way.
Asked to look at Google intraday. It looks like we are trying to double bottom. I don't know that that's exactly what's going to happen here, as we are currently in this candle right now. What we're going to want to see is this reverse in this area and come back up. That would give us a bit of a W-shaped recovery here. Otherwise, going lower, we can look at some levels that we might find some support at. Looks like this right here, this zone could provide some support, and I have that down in the 163 area. Looking at a daily chart for this, it looks much better. Let me just, here we go. I like this price action here. This looks pretty good. Just don't want to see this get taken out by the price action going forward. We start losing this, that's going to disrupt this pattern that's forming here, which looks like an inverted head and shoulders. My thought here is if we do start to move back up, we're going to, and we get to 170, that's going to be the important level I'm looking for. I think if we can close above 170 and hold above there, there's a good chance we start moving back up to this level, maybe even test 200 at some point. But that's further out in the future. Let's go back to staff, because I just saw that that's continuing to break down some more. There we go. So we're going to wait and see if we get this support at $3, and if we can turn around there. That's the next level that turnaround could happen at. So we'll see if that's what we get. SGD small curl up and news is open. Let me see here. I'll start with news, and higher we go. We almost at that EMA that I was talking about. Not quite. I think that was the one we were looking at, right? Was it this one? We'll have to see if we even get up there. Maybe there's another one I was looking at. SGD, that's what I was supposed to be looking for. SGD. Yeah. Okay, so what are we looking at here? This thing has done a whole lot of nothing ever since it got that VWAP projection, and it's kind of going sideways. Not necessarily a bad sign that we're seeing this consolidate, because it's consolidating above these EMAs. We just need to see this turn around and move back up at some point soon. MACD almost close to converging. You know, we really just need to get above 230, and that would be a good start. But for me, for now, SGD is going sideways, and the volume just looks non-existent. So until we see some expansion in volume, it's probably going to end up doing more of this, maybe even go lower. Yeah, Anthony, not much is happening there. Anyone in ORIS? It's halted. We were just taking a look at that. Geez. Oh, this is a new issue then. This says IPO today. Yeah, looks like it. I think maybe you may have said that somebody had said something about this IPOing today, and I missed it. So sorry if I did. In it 619. So right about. Nice job. So you've been in it for the past couple of halts. Then it looks like. I don't even know what this company does. Tea products, mainland China. Okay. Well, I wish you the very best on this trade. Not sure this is for me. And anybody else that wants to give it a shot, go for it. Just understand your risks. All right, so I've got something to show you here with staff. You're getting a little bit of a bounce at that 200 EMA. So let's see if we get some follow through with that. Next step is to get back to 350. That's what I'm going to want to see if we do get that bounce here on the 200 EMA and staff. Well done on your trade there, AJ. Could be another choppy day, then rally at close. You know, that's entirely possible. Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at like a lower time frame chart on the SPY, you can see that at the end of the day, a lot of volume just comes rushing in. Just a whole ton of it. So yeah, absolutely. We could have a choppy day and then rally at the close, or it could just be a choppy day and then we absolutely sell off at the close. I'm not sure what we're getting, but it seems like the dips still are getting bought. So a rally to me would be more likely than not. Tea is huge in China. Yes, it is. Amanda, have a great day. Hopefully you can get some more time to mess around with us. I understand that work's got you down, but don't worry, we're always thinking about you. What else do we got here? News halted down now. Okay, not liking that. And this 120 I mentioned earlier, I think that's the spot to watch for on this one. We lose that, and we're testing VWAP, maybe even going lower. Staff still trying to get that support from the 200 EMA Pixie. You can take a look at. It's one of the other ones we were trading this morning. That one's still looking weak, losing the 65 EMA. What I tell you about, the more it hammers these EMAs, these moving averages, the more likely it's going to break them to the downside or upside, whichever way the price is trying to travel. 200 EMA, that's coming up next. What else are we looking at, folks? Is Aaron taking a nap? No, he's hard at work on something very important.
Hard at work. All right. That does take us though right to 11 a.m. So if we've got time for one more ticker here out of the chat, the first one I see will be the last one we do for the day. So make it a good one.
All right. Look at that. Well, I don't want to look at that with the EMAs, but SPY is certainly looking weak here. And our daily chart showing that we're testing this magenta trend line. This is from the lows starting from October last year, going up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then we'll move on to that ticker that Aaron was talking about. You can't really see with all this crap here, but it starts all the way back down here.
Dell was the first one that I saw.
Dell, dude, you're getting a Dell. All right, so with Dell, that's a nice recovery so far. I think this company may be eating a little bit of SMCI's lunch. Did get a death cross earlier, and now we're about to get a golden cross. Don't really put too much stock into these oscillating, moving average crossings if they're very, very tight like this. But hey, if we get crossing to the upside, then we continue to move up. That's going to be encouraging. It seems that we're in the middle of trying to fill this gap. So to me, look for 132.39 cents to the upside. That'd be about the best I can give you today.
Alrighty, y'all. Well, that'll be a wrap on live trading today. Thank you to everyone who tuned in with us. Thank you, 13, for carrying the show today with Faloona out, especially when I had to go, for my own safety for our fire drill. So with that, guys, we'll wrap up the show today. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, on pre-market prep, 8 a.m., followed by another episode of live trading. 13, do we have anyone else coming on with us tomorrow, or is it going to be you and I ripping it again?
It might be just you and me tomorrow for some more fire drill trades. So stay tuned tomorrow, folks, and we'll see you then for some more fire drills.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, with that, I'll let you get on your way. Happy trading. Stay green, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Breaking news.
U.S. Treasuries.
In the case of nuclear or radiological fallout, people living around potential threats.
RTW retail wins hitting a high of 45 cents. Seeing some chat room mention on RTW retail wins. Coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern Time today, the federal budget balance for January. Earnings after the close today from EFX, Equifax, MGM Resorts, NTAP NetApp, and U.S. Nu Skin, PS Pluralsight, TRIP, TripAdvisor reporting after the close.